Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars, laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions2, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me through Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting through my website, emailrevealer.com. You can go there and get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. If you like today's show, you can check out our members section at OppermanReport.com, where we have all kind of exclusive content that you won't find on the air. And our archives you can find for free at Spreaker.com. Spreaker.com. Today we have a prolific author, Jamie Hanshaw. She's written several books. I guess a lot of people call this stuff like esoteric Hollywood or cult Hollywood. The first one is Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation. The next one is Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation 2. And then Weird Stuff, Hollywood Mind Control. You could find her on Jay Dyer's website. She's doing a lot of work with Jay Dyer's today, jaysanalysis.com. Jamie Hanshaw, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. Tell us about yourself. Who is Jamie Hanshaw?
I am a second generation sort of conspiracy theorist weirdo. My parents in the 90s kind of raised me to question the official narrative about things, and my mom was really into, she would take us to the Bible bookstore and we would rent old VHS conspiracy theories about the Clintons or the black helicopters or whatever was coming out in the 90s. So I kind of grew up with this worldview that things aren't always what they seem to be. And then when I became an adult, I was a very avid reader. So I read about 10 books a month maybe, and the books just kept getting weirder and weirder, my choices. And I came across people like David Icke and Alex Jones. And so it just kind of leveled up my knowledge about geopolitics and the occult. I dated a prominent conspiracy theorist named Freeman for a long time, and we worked together on his website called freemantv.com. And he actually helped me write the first couple books. He did the computer part. I wrote the text, and I told him, where I wanted the pages layout, and he helped me with the
uploading
artistic side of it. Yeah. On, the computer part of it. So we did that together, and we had a interesting relationship and time, traveling around the world, meeting all kinds of different conspiracy theorists, going to conferences, meeting weird people, all the characters that you would ever want to know in this genre. I think I've met all of them, maybe except for David Icke, but I definitely have been in the background of the conspiracy world for as long as it has been a thing. Even far back, we used to do shows on public access TV in Austin before there was even YouTube. So that's how long I've been paying attention to these weird, esoteric and conspiratorial subjects.
It's funny because you said you had an interesting time traveling, and all the conspiracy theories. Well, they're time travelers. She just admitted it.
We did meet time travelers. We met, what's his name? Andrew Basaggio.
Oh, yeah.
So all the characters that you hear about, I've met everybody. I'm sort of the Forrest Gump of conspiracy. No one really knows who I am, but I've been in the background the entire time.
Let me ask you this, because you mentioned those old VHS tapes. I'm a lot older than you. I'm 57 years old, and I've been doing this. I've been into all this stuff since the Yippies back in the 70s in New York City with the Hipster Times and reading about this stuff. Like, I was friends with A.J. Webber when I was like 17 years old. He wrote the book Coup d'etat in America. Now, my question, though, is these old VHS tapes. I used to get those. We used to get them in the mail, and then you'd have to check off your name, and then you'd watch it and mail it to the next person.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, the Clinton Chronicles, and that one about how
exactly. Yes, we had this.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. Wait, remember the one too that said that the highway signs had those little things in the back, and after the I guess the martial law came, we'd have to drive on the other side of the highway, and then there were these stickers on the back of the highway signs that would tell us which way to go. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of that stuff was super goofy, but some of it was correct. So it's kind of like you have to spend your whole life vetting these weird, theories and find out what fits in your worldview and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Like, what do you think? Since so much of that stuff, it turned out to be never came. What do you think?
Well, I definitely think we're still headed for something big, some sort of cataclysmic event that will capitulate the power structure into even more consolidation of power, something like an outbreak that forces vaccines or a microchipping campaign or something like that. I don't think they're done trying to corral the population into tighter forms of control, for sure. But my expertise has been in entertainment industry and Hollywood and children's movies and music videos. Believe it or not, you can find so much stuff in there that you wouldn't even have noticed if you were just looking at it as a normal consumer. If you didn't know about the occult, then you wouldn't understand what you're looking at.
Before we get to that, you mentioned, going to all these conferences and meeting all these people. I've done some of those conferences, and I've had these people on as guests on the show, as co-hosts on the same radio stations with them and stuff like that. What do you? I would say to people that whatever skepticism you have now, you should like double down or triple down. What is your take on all that stuff?
when you're in it, it's weird because you're just trying to get your information out.
Right.
And when you get there and you realize who you're surrounded by, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like in the kook club right now. Like
Right.
people are walking around dressed as gray aliens, and they believe that like Pleiadians are going to arrive and save us all. And like Zeta Reticulans work for Bill Clinton, and like the weirdest stuff. I used to, entertain the idea of all of these alien visitors, but I don't really believe in aliens anymore. I've been to UFO Con, I've been to Conspiracy Con, I've been to Contact in the Desert, I've been to, I've met the David Wilcock group, the Gaia TV group, all of them. And I think a lot of that stuff now is disinformation.
Yeah.
And there have been documentaries that came out that sort of prove that, like people like Project Camelot and Linda Moulton Howe were given false information to spread to the public to muddy the waters about certain things and to, spread disinfo and discredit any kind of truth movement about other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, this makes 100% sense to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And the same names you're talking about, I've met a lot of these people too. And I have experiences. I could testify in court and say they're just outright making things up. Now, what about your own personal beliefs and your own views? Do you look back at your own work and say, "Oh boy, I missed it there. I got snookered. They got me."
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the part where, so I was raised fundamental Baptist Christian.
Okay.
And then when I started to get into all this stuff, there's a funny thing that happens to you, like when you realize that there's a shadow government, when you realize that a lot of religious institutions are compromised. It just kind of breakdown of the things that you believe in. You're not so much a patriot anymore. You're not so much a believer in, authority. And so it makes you question, have I been deceived about religion? And so your mind starts to open up a little bit more, and you start accepting different modes of thinking that you weren't raised with or that your family was opposed to, and you start allowing what the New Age people will call, like, your consciousness is expanding or whatever, right? And what happened was you look at the darkness so much and you realize, trauma-based mind control is real. Monarch program is real. They're using occult techniques in television and movies and music videos and writing and the internet. And it all goes back to basically devil worship. Mm-hmm. And this is what I am proving in my books. The Freemasons are Gnostic and Gnostics are against Christianity. And I'm not a Gnostic at all, but I did entertain a lot of these theories going through the research, right? So when I wrote my first book, The Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation 1, I was in sort of a mindset that magic and occult were okay, and you just have to use it for the right reasons. And if you have a good intention, then it's, being a Kabbalist or a Rosicrucian or anything like that is okay as long as you're a good person and you're not harming anyone. I did a thing about, magic versus sorcery. And I thought there was a difference. And then I grew up a little bit more and I realized, no, none of these things are actually good for you. And I met people who were in it and I was not impressed with their presentation and their worldview.
Many times their morals too. Their morals and their ethics are compromised as well.
Right. Yeah. And I dropped out of church for a long time. And while I was doing these 3 books, I wasn't actually I always thought maybe, Jesus was a good philosopher and it was a good way to live your life, but I wasn't accepting it fully. Like there is a line between right and wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Until I just got so burned out by my life and by all of the stuff that was happening. It was my personal life, kind of fell apart, and my mental health was not good because of all of these things I've been researching. Like, if you really let it get to you and you realize like what's happening, almost everything that you see in the media can be traumatizing if you know what you're looking at. Mm. A movie, you're analyzing a movie and you're just seeing degeneracy and mind control left and right, and no one else sees it. And so it's a very lonely place. But luckily I found, actually there's a chapter in the first book that I was trying to make like a lighthearted system of magic, because I studied magic very heavily for several years, all different forms, Kabbalism, Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley. Not that I was ever a fan of the darker arts ever, and I've never done a spell or anything like that, but I was trying to syncretize the good, my good Christian worldview with, magic and alchemy and things that I saw that had beauty in them, like the alchemical wedding and things that have good morals, but they're not backed by anything. Their foundation is not right.
Seducing spirits, yeah, it's seductive, and it is tempting to especially when you have the knowledge of, and you see it's working for some people, man.
Yeah,
they're getting results. Yeah.
So luckily, at my very lowest point in life, I found the Orthodox Christian Church. Mm. And I was like, this is exactly what I had been missing. This is not Protestantism, not what I was raised with, and what I was disappointed in, really, because a lot of times I would try and take these dark things to the Protestant leaders, and I would say, hey, look, this is what's going on. You need to tell your congregation, you can't go to Disneyland. You can't buy into all of this fantasy stuff because it leads the children straight down to witchcraft, right? And they would just shirk it off. And, I've been to mega churches. I've been to tiny churches. I've been to non-denominational. I've been to Baptist and all the different Protestant churches. And I just never felt like this was feeding me anything. And they are helping people. Yes. My whole family is Protestant Baptist, and they're great, great people. And they're lovely and wonderful. But when I found the Orthodox Church, I was like, this is exactly what I've been missing. And it's not Catholic, because I'm sure you've heard a lot of horrible things about the Vatican and the Catholics and Pope, and they haven't been in communion with the Catholic Church for at least 1,000 years. But the Orthodox Church saved my life, and it saved my worldview, and it gave me a new hope and a new outlook. And it was, exactly the place that I need to be. It was my safe space, if you want to call it that, from all the craziness that I had learned. And it's like, once you've seen enough darkness, then you know where the light is.
Couple of questions for you. Now, one is, once your eyes have been open to all this stuff like that, can you still enjoy the old music like you used to, or are you able to separate the evil part of the music and say, well, I see where that's going? Like, even like Billie Eilish, like the tune is, but you hear that stuff, and you can kind of like, sometimes you got to turn it off, but you can kind of separate too. Where do you stand on that? I'm a musician. I went to college for music theory and performance. So I play guitar and piano and sing. So music is very dear to my heart. And so I hate the use of music for this type of evil and sorcery. Yeah. I have, in my third book, I do sort of character sketches about, like, Beyonce is one chapter, Katy Perry is another chapter, Britney Spears is another chapter, Michael Jackson's another chapter. I love the artists. I love the music.
not all of it. I think some of it is, blatantly degenerate and used for mind control. I think most of these people are under mind control. If they're not officially part of the Monarch program, I think they have been initiated into certain things that are darkness. So I have a heart for these people. I enjoy their music when it's authentic. And I really hope to see them freed. I don't see this thing with Kanye. You've seen this new stuff, right? Where he's like coming out saying, I'm a Christian and I'm not convinced that this is sincere. Are you?
Well, he chose Joel Osteen. You can't go wrong there, right? You know what I'm saying?
Joel Osteen, he's one of the big, examples of what Christianity is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and if you join the Orthodox Church, or if you even are an inquirer in the Orthodox Church, you will see what kinds of clowns these prosperity gospel people are.
Now, what about your politics then? How has this affected your political views?
I do not participate. I just watch it sort of as a circus. I haven't voted in 20 years. I just have no faith whatsoever in the political. We pray for them. That's part of our. It's called the liturgy in the Orthodox Church. We don't have a sermon. We do. It's more of a musical play called the Divine Liturgy, and we pray for all of these people, all of our leaders, all of the authority. We don't condemn them. We know that they're in a position that God put them in. Even if we don't agree with them, we pray for them. But I have no confidence whatsoever in democracy. I think that's a Freemason Enlightenment era notion. So I don't participate in politics whatsoever. I have no opinion about Republicans or Democrats. I think that there are more wicked people and less wicked people in politics. Definitely I don't. Hillary Clinton would be one that I would say is in the occult on the dark side. I don't know Donald Trump personally. I can't say I'm not impressed. He's not a person I respect, but he's definitely better than Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or somebody like that.
Oh, you think so? Okay. It's interesting. If you go back and listen to Hillary's first speech after she lost the election, I think she went back to the women's children's group, and it is an occult speech. She's talking about how she's used the occult her whole life and how it's worked her whole life, and don't lose your hope in this practice that we're doing. It's just if you look at it with those eyes open, it's right there. It's right there. Okay.
Yeah, and lots of witch groups and satanic groups openly support Hillary Clinton. So
now, is this the focus of your life now, the Orthodox Church?
Definitely, yeah. And it's like I've spent so much time reading gobbledygook and lies and darkness, and I just want to spend the rest of my life kind of correcting my faulty thinking and repenting of the things I've been involved in. Not in a super penitent way, but in a joyful way. Like I found something that refreshes my soul and makes me happy and gives me hope and life, healing instead of all negativity all the time.
Okay, that's fascinating. Now, give us an idea from your research of what you've discovered about occult Hollywood, occult influence in Hollywood and the music industry, because that's really the basis of your life's work published today, right?
Yeah. I was a tour guide in Los Angeles. So along with my musical training in college, I also took acting classes and speech and things. So I love performance art. I love dance. I love music. I love all of these different expressions. And I loved Hollywood. I love movies. And I just started to see, when I met Freeman, he had this immense library, occult library that he inherited from a warlock. And I started going through these books, and I would read them cover to cover and research the author and the places they were coming through, and I'd actually read their books. And as I started to do this, I started to notice that the magical rituals that they would lay out in their books, you could see them doing in music videos.
Mm.
You could see them using the symbols. You could see them using the hand signs. You could see them, using the imagery. And then you look into their life and you see that they are actually followers of these magicians like Aleister Crowley, and they are in the OTO and they are doing these things. So it was like I would be reading a magic book and I would look at the new video that came out by Beyonce, and it's like point for point some sort of ritual. And so I started writing about these. And then a lot of the music videos allude to the Monarch mind control program. And if you haven't researched like people like Fritz Springmeier or people who have laid out, I have a whole shelf at my old house of victims of the Monarch mind control, and also therapists who are trying to untangle these people's brain because they have dissociative identity disorder. And so this stuff is real. It's not just like one wacky person saying this happened to me. It's report after report, and even certified, therapists saying that these people are being satanically, ritually abused.
I can even tell you that I've had contact with people, therapists, who have had patients who have accused these big names, in this area, and say this particular person was involved in my ritual abuse as a child, and then that person contacted the therapist. Okay, so we're talking. What I'm talking about, the guy who was guilty of the crime contacted the therapist. So this is out there. It's a small circle of people too. Although it's widespread, they're all in contact with each other. There's double agents. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And it's, as a matter of fact, it's probably the most polluted area of investigation and topic to discuss, because there's so much smearing on the one side, and then there's sock puppets and going back and forth. It's just a mess.
Disinformation is real, and disinfo agents are real. And like I said, we were talking about aliens, people, it is their job to discredit this type of stuff, but you can't, how do I put this? When you're looking at the art, like let's say that the genre of music videos, right? Let's just look at that. Like there's a website called Vigilant Citizen who has done the most stellar job of chronicling the art and imagery of mind control in the pop industry. And if you just peruse his site, there's no way you can say this is just a coincidence that all of these elements from mind control are in all of these videos. All of these girls have the same, beta kitten programming. They have the same butterfly imagery. They are doing videos about bondage, like Rihanna. They're in chains. They're having multiple personalities in the video. Even all the pop stars, like, why do you think that Eminem is also Slim Shady? Why do you think Beyonce is also Sasha Fierce? Why do you think they all have alter egos? Because
Miley Cyrus,
dissociative identity.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe, about the Monarch program in the pop industry, I suggest you go to Vigilant Citizen, because I think he has the best catalog of imagery that would, it's statistically impossible that all of these people are just expressing themselves artistically and using these same magical symbols over and over again.
Well, yeah, especially when 40, 50 years ago, we didn't have this proliferation of this kind of a blatant, occult, imagery everywhere. Like when I was a kid, Bewitched was a huge, oh my goodness, what are they doing at Bewitched? With the, and now it's,
they did have their finger on the counterculture because, Elvis Presley had a handler,
Right.
who was a military general. The Beach Boys were, into occult things with Charles Manson. The Laurel Canyon scene was rife with occultism. I think, what's his name? Dave McGowan has done a really good book about the Laurel Canyon people. So the entire counterculture is part of the conspiracy as well.
Yeah, I've had Dave on the show many, many times. Matter of fact, I'm the one that got him booked, like on John B. Wells and that kind of stuff, and George Norrie. So we've been talking about that for years here. And even in my own personal experience, back with the counterculture, with the yippies back in New York City, I look back today and I wonder how much there was, because we knew that there was all kinds of COINTELPRO and FBI undercover and stuff like that, but how much even the people we thought were good guys were actually, and all the drug dealing and stuff that went on there as well. Anyway, boy, I'm starting to get depressed now. You're gonna have to cheer me up here. We're getting a little down here. You gotta pick this up.
Go to Vespers; it'll refreshen you. But it's crazy because at the height of my research, when I was writing the last book that I wrote called Hollywood Mind Control, I actually predicted what Katy Perry would do at the Super Bowl, and it wasn't through any sort of paranormal means. I was just following a formula. I was like, if they are promoting the OTO, if they're in the OTO and they are following the Aleister Crowley model of sorcery, then what their next high profile ritual, I call it, all of these performances like the VMAs, the Grammys, Super Bowl halftime show is what I call a high profile ritual, because it's done in public and it's like the biggest thing in the world. Everyone's watching, everyone's participating, everyone is falling under this spell. And I said, if I'm correct, I think I said this on Clive Lewis' Ground Zero show. I said, if I'm correct, then Katy Perry's going to be riding some kind of cat-like beast, because this was the image of the Whore of Babylon that Crowley and Jack Parsons came up with. And lo and behold, Katy Perry comes out riding a giant glittery lion dressed in flames. And I said before, it's going to have something to do with fire and cats, because this is on the card, Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot deck. The card of lust is this picture. So if you put Katy Perry's Super Bowl performance next to the lust card from the Thoth Tarot deck, it's the same imagery. And I was like, I can't believe this is all coming true. And I just told you guys what you would see, and you did see it.
Yeah, and even the stadiums, have all kinds of occult architecture built into it. And and the pattern where they have the people walking in and out, it follows also to, what's that thing called? When you have to walk through like that maze kind of thing, is a
labyrinth.
Yeah, a labyrinth. Yeah, it's the path that they have people walking in and out of these buildings. It's like a labyrinth created as well. We got to take a commercial break though.
Okay.
We are here today with Jamie Hanshaw. She's written these incredible books. Let me pull them up here. Weird Stuff, Hollywood Mind Control. Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation Part 2. And Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation Part 1. We'll be right back after these messages with more of Jamie Hanshaw. And now a word from our sponsors.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report, and they're going to check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Hey, you, podcast listener. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. Take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and go back to listening to mundane podcasts that won't challenge your religious beliefs and your so-called truths about reality, the universe, and consciousness. Take the red pill. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast, hosted by Mark Anthony Peterson, and he will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Event Horizon takes a walk into the paranormal with a splash of conspiracy. It's the podcast that would be born if David Icke and the X-Files had a baby. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast by Mark Anthony Peterson on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Stitcher, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Remember, all we are offering is the truth, nothing more.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars, and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with author and researcher Jamie Hanshaw. You can find her at jaysanalysis.com, but also, too, she's written these incredible books. I had them all pulled up. Weird Stuff, Hollywood Mind Control, Weird Stuff, Operation Culture Creation, Part 1 and 2. So, Jamie, now, you've uncovered that they're doing these ceremonies right under our nose. Now, are they getting results from this? And what results are they trying to achieve?
The result is to make the population into a golem or a mind-controlled slave or something that can be steered with them as the head. Instead of Christ as the head of humanity, it's going to be a technocracy. And that is what the future is. That's what the future they are trying to create, is some sort of Skynet or a matrix or something where people just live in virtual reality. They want people to, well, first of all, they want to reduce the population quite a bit, in my opinion, and have sort of two classes, a ruling class and a servant class. And the servant class will be completely, have you seen THX 1138, George Lucas' first movie?
What is it called?
THX 1138.
You know what? I think I might have seen that. It's like is it black? It's like from the 70s, right?
Yeah. It's George Lucas' very first.
Is it black and white?
It's not, but it's very muted.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Colors. Yeah.
I don't recall it, but I think I do remember seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Brave New World type tale where all you do is work at your robotics job. Everything is automated, including church. He goes to a robot Jesus and says his confessions. Everything is just fake and virtual reality. You don't live with a spouse. You live with just a partner, and everybody has to take some sort of medication to dull them. All he does is like watch porn, and a big machine comes down and relieves him of the pressure.
I remember, yeah. I remember this movie. Yeah, sure.
yeah. So it's completely disconnected from any kind of humanity whatsoever. And his job is to build the robots that keep them in check. And culture is going in this direction if we don't wake up and stop it. I mean, man-woman relationships are in a critical life support right now. Marriages are not really a thing anymore. There's internet, there's sex dolls, there's robots, there's porn, there's all kinds of distractions, video games. So Jamie, the technology is what is wrapping itself around our necks.
Yeah, when I was a kid, really. Like the idea of even living together before you were married, forget about having children before you were married. And then even once you were married, the idea of divorce, these were such abhorrent ideas, that things that you were ashamed of, you'd avoid. And now it's considered abnormal if you don't do it this way. And then this custody situation after divorce where your kids are being shuffled back and forth, these insane, very short period of time too, we've come up with all these insane ideas. Now, how do we resist all this and fight against it?
The only thing I've found is the teachings of the Orthodox Church, and Christianity is on the right path, but you really need to be in the true church that was started from the New Testament on and has never been changed. It's an unbroken tradition, and we keep these values, for humanity, and, we are the light of the world, really. And I'm not condemning any other types of Christians. I love all people, and I think that, Jesus can save no matter what, but this is where the light is, in my opinion.
I would agree with you there. 100%.
And nothing else. I mean, I tried to be good and inclusive, and I've done the hippie thing. I've done the vegan thing. I've done the new age thing. I've done the chakras. I've done all of it. Like every guru, every yoga, like the gamut of enlightenment techniques, and nothing holds a candle to the Orthodox Church. I've been through it all.
No, I hear you. I've been out there myself, and then I became a born again Pentecostal Christian, which is what I am today. In fact, one time I was an evangelist. I traveled with a gospel tent ministry up and down the whole East Coast. Well, the happiest time of my life it was, as a matter of fact. Now, I don't know if you know anything about me. Okay, I'm asking you for advice now. I wanted to ask you for advice since we've been starting the show. Okay. Now, I don't know if you know anything about me, but I was the investigator in the 2016 lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein, right? And everybody's fascinated with Jeffrey Epstein.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up, because that sort of vindicates what we've been saying for the past 20 years. Like, now it's all coming out that we were right about the pedophilia and the horrible, horrible practices of the elite.
Yeah, but you can't forget, though, that these people still control the narrative. They're controlling the story that's out there now. True. Yeah, they definitely have their own thing. But you
have to ask why everybody's suddenly on board and spreading the meme that Epstein didn't kill himself when they couldn't be bothered to share any other type of thing that was coming out. And now suddenly, why is this so prevalent?
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's good, but I'm so suspicious.
I don't think it's good at all, because they could be saying, hey, Alan Dershowitz paid a settlement, was accused of raping children and paid a settlement to keep it, to settle the lawsuit. They could be saying that Epstein brought a teenage girl onto Trump's airplane That would be a great meme. With Maxwell, they brought a teenage girl into Trump's plane. They could be saying it's Epstein said he created the Clinton Foundation. That would be a great meme. And another one I just came up with today is John Tino didn't pay himself off. Okay. Because John Tino, that no one's heard of, he's the guy who, the gangster in New York City who claimed that he has a video of Trump with a teen prostitute, just disappeared off the face of the earth. Okay. Just trying to get him on the show, and now he's gone. Anyway, but my point I was trying to make, though, is, I get involved in this stuff, and I believe it's through my focus and my intention. Okay. And also to my Christianity, my faith. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm looking now to get on the radio down in Florida. It's a swing state in a swing county to affect the national elections. I see how the other side is using media to get to like these rituals and stuff like that. But even the power of the spoken word has this kind of magical, power, right? How can we? I hate to say, how can we use these same tactics for good? What are the opposite tactics to use for good? Just coming on here preaching about Jesus, that doesn't seem to, I've done that, that doesn't seem to have this kind of effect. You know what I'm saying?
I used to be very motivated, thinking, I can change the world. I can do all this. Me and my friends, we can make a difference, blah, blah, blah. And it was coming from a place of, love and everything, but it's also coming from a place of ego, like, oh, I'm going to be on the forefront of the revolution of getting the word out, and we're all going to make a better world, until I found myself almost, mentally dead and spiritually dead, and I couldn't help anybody. I couldn't even help myself in that state, right? And I had to go to a institution that built me back up. And I realized, I don't have to try and work so hard to save the world, because only Christ can do that. And it has been done, and it will be done, and it is going to be done. And so it's not something that I have to march out and go to conferences and go to protests and crazy things. I mean, I went to every Occupy there was. Right. I went to Occupy New York City, Washington, D.C., Austin, Boston, Philadelphia, all of them. Nothing I did in that arena made a difference, and it just hurt me more spiritually. So the first thing you do, you have to start with yourself, and you have to make sure that you are, saved. Like in the Orthodox Church, salvation is a continual thing. It's not just a one-time prayer that gives you insurance from hell. It's a lifestyle. It's like a totally turning around. Repentance means making a U-turn and going the other way. It's very introspective, and it kind of puts all of the world's problems into a different perspective. Like, wow, there's nothing really I can do until I am right with God myself. Does that make sense?
Yes,
and then things fall into place. Then opportunities you're given. You have to go back to the basics. Like, I need to give alms to the poor. I need to be kind to people. I need to not tell lies. I need to live an upright life. I need to not, be having sex before I get married. I need to go back to these fundamental principles and fix myself before I can even start to help. It's like when a plane is crashing, they tell you have to put your mask on before you can help other people put their mask on. Otherwise, what good are you? So you have to go and have a personal relationship and get right with God before any of these other things can come into place. And not saying that there's no value in what I've done. Obviously, the books I've written and have reached a lot of people and changed their minds. And we get letters every day saying, thank you so much. You brought me out of atheism. You brought me out of, agnostic Catholic Church. And now I have a purpose and a direction. People write Jay and I every day saying, my whole family is joining the Orthodox Church because of what you guys have done. And this is how we save the world, not by voting or electing the right person or going to any kind of protest or sit in or whatever. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying. How long have you been involved with the Orthodox Church?
I started going in 2017, 2018. So what's interesting is I'd never been to one. I never even walked through the doors of an Orthodox church before I met Jay Dyer. And we had gone a couple of times, and then we separated for a little while, and I was living in South Carolina. And I looked up the one in my town, and I walked in, and it was it's very foreign, but also very familiar. Mm. They don't sit for a service. They stand and they prostrate and they bow and they cross themselves and they do all these things. And the more you watch, for the first couple of months, I was just kind of watching because I was in a very fragile place mentally. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to be friends with anybody. I just wanted to get my life back, basically, my mental happiness and clarity and everything. So I watched them for a couple of months, and I would go to every time they had a service. I would be there and just watch what they do. And it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And I've seen every play and concert and performance you would ever see in your life, every type of music, I've seen it all. And I've sit under all the gurus, and I've never seen anything so beautiful as what the Orthodox were doing. So what you do is you become an inquirer, and you start going to class. And they tell you, you have to go to class for a year before you can even ask to join and become Orthodox. And this is not even as strict as it used to be throughout history. And this is how they have done it for 2,000 years, ever since, the New Testament apostles. This is how they catechize people and make sure you know exactly what you're doing. They explain it like a wedding. You date, and then you get engaged, and then you get married, and it's permanent, and it's a relationship. It's not just I might go to church when I feel like it. This is something that it's like water to you. It's like air going to church now. And when you finally
do you watch TV or movies at all now?
Oh yeah, of course. We watch movies all. We analyze them. Your conscience changes a lot the more you go to church. Mm. And then the more you look at the world, the less appealing a lot of things become. Because the Orthodox Church is set up like a heaven. I don't know if you've ever been inside one, but this is what the Bible describes heaven will be like. You'll be surrounded by saints. There'll be Christ is the high priest. There'll be an altar. There'll be, gold. It's very ornate and aesthetically pleasing, and that's something I think the Protestant church has lost out on. Mm-hmm. It's building these giant stadium mega churches. There's no reverence and holiness that you can feel like you can feel in an Orthodox church.
Jamie, we have less than 1 minute left. How can people get a hold of that kind of stuff?
You can find my books on jaysanalysis.com under the shop page, and they're also on freemantv.com. If you're interested in them, they're really neat things that you can lay out if you want to open up the topic with your family members or people that are kind of on the fence. These are great to lay out, and people will pick them up just because they're so vibrant and colorful and weird looking, oh, it's just weird stuff. And then they open it up and they're like, what is going on? And this it's a great way to introduce all of these things to even younger people. I wrote them with a 15, 16-year-old demographic in mind. So they're very easy to understand. They're full color pictures. There's jokes. There's puzzles. There's lots of weird stuff. It's all mostly true. Please ignore my philosophies about magic and, slack magic and stuff like that. I've changed my mind on a lot of stuff, but everything else is 100% spot on, and I hope you can pick one up.
And don't forget to jaysanalysis.com. You do a little podcast as well, right? Jamie?
I do.
Jamie Hanshaw, thank you so much. I know the audience is going to love this. You really are a breath of fresh air. And anytime you want to come back, just let me know you got something you want to promote. We'll put you right back in there.
Sure. I will talk about Orthodox Church all day long. So if you ever have any questions about that, it's my favorite subject now.
Thank you so much. And now a word from our sponsors. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions2, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions.
Hey, you, podcast listener. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. Take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and go back to listening to mundane podcasts that won't challenge your religious beliefs and your so-called truths about reality, the universe, and consciousness. Take the red pill. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast, hosted by Mark Anthony Peterson, and he will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Event Horizon takes a walk into the paranormal with a splash of conspiracy. It's the podcast that would be born if David Icke and the X-Files had a baby. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast by Mark Anthony Peterson on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Stitcher, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Remember, all we are offering is the truth, nothing more.